Hello.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Oh man, I'm great.
Awesome.
Yeah. Welcome. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you. Welcome, you too, Joe.
You're welcome.
No problem.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway,
Thank you.
welcome everybody. It's Don't Worry Wednesday. Hello, Ash. Hello, Penny. Hello. I can't read your name because it's in a different language, and I
Yep.
don't know how to pronounce those letters.
It's definitely not what it looks like.
It's yeah.
It's not three three. It's definitely not that.
It's not that. It's pronounced differently than that.
It's very different.
Yes. But anyway, yes, here we are. It's Don't Worry Wednesday. This is like the second to last one of these we're gonna do this year.
Oh yeah. That's
You
right.
know that?
Didn't think about
Because
that.
we are gonna do one next week, right?
Yeah.
I have one on the schedule.
Good.
so,
We'll
so
do it.
yes. So everybody, I think probably everybody's on Christmas break this week, and so hey, we'll see who comes and joins us. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
But yes, so before we get started, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas or a happy every other holiday that's going on this year, like right now, because there's lots of them. Um, there's Hanukkah, there's
Chris Mahana
Kwanzaa, there's
Kwanzaa.
What?
Chris Mahana Kwanzaa.
Chris Mahana Kwanzaa. What's the Chris Mahana Kwanzaa?
Yeah.
Oh, what about
That's
Fest?
when you
Huh?
put them all together.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it's that time of year, man. It's the time of year for celebrating holidays and stuff. And so here we
That's
are.
right.
And it's cold out, which is beautiful. I love it.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And so yeah, but this is Don't Worry Wednesday. This is a show about you guys. This is a show about your guys' topics. We just sit up here and talk about them.
that's
And
that's right. That's
so
what we do.
yes. So if you're having some kind of a challenge in your life, or if you're having some kind of a struggle or some issue, feel free to post it in the chat, or you can post it on our website, bss.studio. I don't have a link. Maybe Ryan can be the king of the links right now.
Okay.
We also have an email address, dww@bss.studio. You can send us an email there. If you'd like to remain anonymous, that's probably the best place to do it. Also, you can reach us on Discord. I am pleb number 6992, and Ryan up there, static P, is static -P 4545.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, nailed it, man. Yes, so you can reach us there with any topic that you want to post, and there's the link to post one on our website. And yeah, this is awesome. We are not professional therapists. We're not a substitute for therapy. Bummer.
Yeah.
You wish you were a professional therapist?
No, I
No.
don't. Nah, cause that's cause then that would be my job.
Yeah, I don't know if we'd be able to do this show if that was our job.
Right, exactly. That's kind of what I
Might
was
be.
saying last week. If we did that as a full-time job, we wouldn't do this show
Yeah,
because,
I don't know if we'd be able to. It'd be weird.
yeah, legally, I think there's too many confidential things that happen,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just way too easy to mess up.
Well, and if a therapist has to give you individualized, counsel based on a conversation and all kinds of
Right,
stuff. So they got to
and a lot
kind
of it
of
is,
dig into the problem.
yeah, the other person talking, not the therapist,
Mm-hmm.
usually.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, that's kind of how it is with my therapist. It's kind of funny. I'll talk to my therapist, and she it was funny. Like last appointment I had, she was like, "You sound kind of stressed. Keep talking to me." And I'm like, "Well, I am stressed." And then she's like, "Well, keep talking. I need to know. You got to keep talking." And I'm like, "I don't feel like talking right now." Well, you have to. Just it wasn't like
yep.
that, but she is kind of like that.
No, instead she swore.
Yeah, she's good at swear words. She's Italian and she's from New York. She's
New
awesome.
York.
Yep. Yep, she's real
Nice.
cool. She speaks my
She
language.
like hot dogs.
What dogs? Yep,
Yeah, she like hot dogs.
exactly. Exactly. Yep, but we are not professional therapists. We're not attorneys either, or police officers, or any other kind of profession that might be able to help you in any kind of difficulty. We're musicians. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, musicians are who speak to people the most a lot of times.
Sometimes. Yep, you're right. Yep, music has
Without
a way of getting into your heart. It's a
Mhm.
beautiful form of communication, and there's so much expression and emotion that can happen in music, and the words can carry a lot more weight when they're lyricized
Mhm.
and songified. So
Yep.
Ryan will be saying every bit of advice and perspective tonight in song form. We
Good.
will be learning in sing song.
Wow. What a Christmas adventure this is.
I don't mean to put you on the spot there, buddy, but
Yeah, all right.
you're like, yes, you do. You meant to put me on the spot.
It sounds like it would be not great.
Yeah, that might be kind of tough. But yeah, so we are not any of those. Ash is a fan. Hey, Ash wants to hear you sing it, all of it. So
I just think that it would be hard to get across the sincerity factor.
yeah, maybe.
I think so.
um, yes, but we're not professional therapists, and we're not a substitute for that. We just want to be your friend. We want to love you in any way we possibly can. We want to wrap our virtual arms around you and hug you because you know what? You're awesome. And whatever you're going through, it's okay. People go through stuff all the time. I go through stuff. Ryan goes through stuff. We all go through stuff. And, sometimes there have been a lot of times on this show where I've recommended people to find a therapist because, man, it can be really, really helpful. Really helpful. And then, but even in the midst of going through therapy, you also need to have some friends. It's good to have friends that you can talk to. It's good to have friends that will encourage you and just love you for who you are, regardless of what's going on, and that, people that have your back. And hopefully we can do some of that here on this show for you. So that's what we do. Maybe offer some perspective along the way. Um, I know a lot of times I have a hard time seeing the big picture when I'm in the middle of an issue or a challenge. Hey, welcome. You're finally early. Awesome. You made it, unknown boy. Um so yeah. Um so here we are.
We made it.
We made it.
Cool.
And yeah, so we got some topics. So we're gonna start by going down a list of topics. If you have a topic, feel free to put it in the chat. Or and that's the thing. Princess usually is our chat room hostess and keeping us on track. She is not with us tonight. At least right now. She might pop in later. I don't know. We're gonna find out. But yeah, so we're gonna try and hold this thing together as best we can without her. But she does a lot for us, and yeah, yeah, we definitely feel the pinch when she's not here. But yes, Ash, I saw your comment in the chat that you were here yesterday.
That's great.
uh,
Did you think yesterday was Wednesday? By any chance? I've done that. My mom has done that to me so many times. Like for like 3 weeks in a row on a Tuesday, she's like, "Hey Ryan, don't forget it's Wednesday." And I was like, "Oh yeah, shoot." And then I'm like getting in the process in my mind, thinking, "Okay, I got a stream to do at 8 o'clock." And then like an hour passes, and I'm like, "It's Tuesday."
it takes you an hour to get there, huh?
No, not usually, but it like that was the worst time. It took me about an hour, and then the other times I was like, "Mom, you, you got me going for a second there, but it's a Tuesday." And she's like, "Oh, it is. Yeah, my bad."
It is tough. I'll tell you what. Now that I'm full time with Black Static and Swerve, you kind of forget what day it is
Yeah, it could be
because
easy to do that.
all the days kind of run together, and you're always working and you're always not working, kind of.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, before we had like weekly meetings and all these other things, it was even harder. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
because without any type of schedule whatsoever, it could be any day of the week.
Mm-hmm. Except for
So,
Sunday.
except for Sunday. Sunday was the only day you remembered. I was the only day I
Mm-hmm.
remembered.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's the
Every
only
other
day I
day
could
is
even.
day.
Yeah,
Someday.
someday.
Yes. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. But all right, let's get this show on the road, shall we?
Yep, let's do it.
What? Are you serious? Apparently, I've been signed out. Okay. Change account.
Ah, nice Ash. Yep, totally relatable. You're pulling it back up.
I'm pulling it back up. Yep. It was so crazy. Like right at the time of the show started, Google signs me out. Really? Really, Google? Like you see what I'm doing here on YouTube.
What are you
Oh,
using?
and I just woke up my phone.
Okay.
Because I said the word Google.
My gosh.
Dang
Yeah,
it.
mine doesn't respond to that.
Make me wish I had an iPhone. Actually, not really.
No, no, it doesn't. Yeah, you should turn yours to something else.
I should?
That way, when you say Google, it doesn't do it.
Oh boy. Then what would I'd have to come up with
You
something
should use
weird.
mine.
What's yours?
Mine never. I just say "tsukaimakun,"
I
and then
would
it
not be able to
responds.
pronounce that properly.
Tsu. Say
Tut,
tsu.
tut,
Yeah, tsu. No, you're doing it wrong. No, just
tut.
kidding. Wrong already. Wrong.
I told you. I told you.
No, I'm kidding. All right. Anyways, let's do the topics.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to go through the list. If you guys hear your name, you can let us know you're here. So, yes. Okay. We've got Ezekiel Games, Dracon, LG, Toast, Immature Success, Amira, Sparrow, and Nihilus. Oh, Ezekiel Games we did last week. I forgot to put Done on there.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Done.
Whoa.
Whoa.
And Ash, I see you're here. Ash wants to see pictures of my hair.
Which is a topic, I suppose.
It is a topic. And you know what? I was going to have pictures in my hands and hold them up in front of the camera. But I always have problems with that. It never focuses.
Yeah.
Yes, your topic technically does count. It totally counts. And now anybody who watches this show is now going to have a link to my Long Hair Joe album.
Long Hair Joe album.
Yep. So let's see. I'm copying the link and I'm pasting it.
I'm gonna look at this too.
Yeah, man. These are
I
all.
think I might have seen this before.
These are all Joe Rockstar photos.
Ooh.
Excuse me. So they're fun. But there you go.
So I shall take a gander as well.
There you go.
I don't see the link.
It's in the chat.
It's not there. Oh, there it is. Wow, that's super laggy.
You're super
It's
laggy.
behind. Hey. Nice, man. That's awesome. Look at that. Look at that beautiful hair.
Yeah, I had pretty cool hair, huh?
Mm-hmm. It's a lot more wavy than I thought it would be. Yeah,
Yep.
I haven't seen these pictures. Oh my gosh, that's totally you. Except for when you were like, I don't know, you're 29 now, so that was probably when you were 12.
Yeah.
Or maybe we were 29.
Still 29?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a
Nice.
real, that band that I played with, that was such a fun band to play with. We were like a jam band. And
That's a tall hat.
everybody was so good. I mean, like, I'm a decent player, but everybody in this band was so good. And we would jam and throw solos back around and everything. And just, man, it was fun. It was like funk and, hippie music.
Ooh.
It was like funky
Yeah.
hippie music,
Nice.
It was super fun.
That's great.
Yeah. Yep. But we had a good time. We got to play in some cool venues. You see that one on the outdoor stage.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fun time. Big old music festival. And we were like the first band of the day.
Nice.
But we were there, man. It was cool.
That rocks, man.
Yep. So yeah, there's my long hair photos for you. And
Thanks for sharing. That's pretty cool, man. I haven't seen this before.
yep.
Nice.
It was good times.
Good times.
Yeah, so now we've handled that topic. Wow.
I hope you found this topic helpful, and meaningful. Good luck with the rest of your life and whatever.
Yep. Now you've seen me with my long hair, rock star style.
Nice.
I still play guitar.
Yep.
I just don't have the hair anymore.
Right.
And I also
That's all
repair
right.
guitars.
Luckily, you're not Samson, so you didn't lose all your strength when
Right.
your hair got caught.
That's true. In fact, I'm probably stronger now than I was then.
Yeah, I was looking at those pictures. I was like, man, Joe has got way more muscle on him now.
Yeah.
Literally, like one of my first thoughts when I saw your arms in those
Yep.
pictures.
I was pretty skinny,
Yeah,
but that's all right. A few years and a few meals will do that to you, you know.
yeah. Well, you have a lot more muscle
That's true.
for sure.
I've had a pretty decent habit of exercise, but that's all right. Um,
Mm.
so anyway, thank you, Ash, for the topic. It was fun to kind of go back through and look back through those photos again and um, a few meals. Yep. But yeah, it was fun to reminisce. Um, and man, were those guys good. They were such good musicians, and we had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, just a few meals. There's a reason why Joe is still 29.
Mm-hmm.
The more meals you eat, the faster you age. That's scientific. But I do have to preface that with we are not professional scientists,
We're not
um,
dietitians either.
or dietitians or morticians.
Or morticians.
Um,
Wow.
yeah. No, what's the other one? It's like a dietitian, but it's another word for it, or it's not another word for it, but they do a similar thing. I don't know. It's not common to me.
Scientist.
Yeah, but we aren't that. So
We're not
we
professional
could
scientists.
our science could be different than real science. Just keep that in mind when listening.
Yes. Well, so all right. So I'm gonna quick go through the list one more time. Dracon, LG, Toast, Immature Success, Amira, Sparrow, or Nihilus. And I think what we'll probably do, since it's kind of the end of the year. Hey, Princess is here. Ahoy, I just finished with Christmas singing practice. Yes. And she's gonna be here. Yay,
When she gets home,
Princess.
cool. Much love.
Awesome.
Awesome. See you when you get here.
Love you,
Take your
Princess.
time. No rush.
Mm-hmm. Drive safely.
Drive safe.
Mm-hmm.
No
Out of,
speeding. Follow the rules. Stop at every light
even if it's
as long as
green.
it's red.
Oh.
Especially if it's blue.
Especially if you see blue, it's a blue light special. You better go to it.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
people no longer know what a blue light special is.
That doesn't happen in modern stores anymore.
Never happens. Yep, because that was a Kmart thing, and Kmart's been
Yeah.
gone for
Blue light
a while,
special.
I think. Whoa,
Was it only on Kmart?
that was only a Kmart thing.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was Kmart. In fact, I remember going to last time I went to a Kmart, it was in the ghetto, and I was like Christmas shopping. It was like December 24th at like 6 p.m. You know,
Nice.
because
Yeah.
that's when I do my Christmas shopping.
It's a lot easier to pick them because all the hard options they're gone off the
Right.
shelf. So
Yeah.
you don't have to
You
worry
can't
about
be
it.
choosy, right? You just get what you get, and that's it. Right? Yep. So I was like, man, this is a ghetto store. But hey, it was a Kmart in the ghetto,
Mm-hmm.
so it was fun.
Cool.
But I think aren't blue lights for medical and or emergency purposes? They kind of are, and I think they are also like police type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
they have one in the Walmart in my hometown. Actually, there's a parking space with a pole, and it's got a blue light on the top of it, and it's like reserved parking for police officers.
Hmm.
And I was like, well, that's pretty
Neat.
cool. Cause
Neat.
yeah, being a police officer would be a tough job, man.
Yeah, that for sure.
Mm-hmm. I got to deal with
For
all
sure.
crazy stuff.
Man, I'm glad I'm not a police officer.
Mm-hmm. Imagine being a police officer in like Detroit
I know. Or Flint.
or Flint or probably Chicago
Or
or New
Chicago.
York or LA or any of those
New
big
York.
cities, man.
New York.
That'd be tough. So, never seen a blue light in the streets. Me neither, Bitzel. I've never seen a blue light in the streets either. Um, I've
I've seen
seen
blue lights on vehicles on the
behind
street.
you when they're pulling you
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. That's my favorite.
Mine too. Like, oh man, he wants to stop me and talk to me. Hey,
Yeah, what a
that's
nice
so
guy. He
great,
comes
man.
in, he's like,
Ah.
hey. And he starts off asking all the right questions, like, do you know how fast you were going? So he like obviously he wants to make good conversation, something about what's relevant to the
Mhm.
scenario. Like he's a good guy.
Mhm.
Every time I get stopped,
Yep.
just like the guy.
Yeah, and when I had long hair like that, they'd always be like, "Your car smells funny. Can we search it?"
Really?
No, not no.
Oh, okay.
Have either of you ever been pulled over?
Yeah. Plenty.
Man,
Yep.
yeah. I've been
One
pulled
time I got
over.
pulled over. One time I got pulled over by a cop, and he he gets me for speeding. I was like 5 over,
That's it? He
and
stopped you for that?
yeah,
Oh.
it's kind of silly, but oh well. I was on. It was like a 55, and I was going 60, and so he stopped me and he pulled me over, and he goes up to the window, and he goes, and he's looking at my like vehicle, and he sees the back seat, and just happened to be taking my brother's van this day. Um, I was doing inspections, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his kids' booster seats were in the back.
Mm.
And so he's like, "Hey, man, so just wanted to know you're going a little over. I see you got your kids, so I know that's tough, so I'm gonna let you go, but don't speed again." I was like, "All right, yes, sir."
Wow. But you didn't have the kids in the car.
No,
Just
the
the
kids
booster
weren't in the
seats?
car, but he saw the booster seats. So he didn't say kids, he said the seats, the kids' seats.
Okay.
He assumed like I was a father. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I didn't correct him. I didn't say anything. I just like,
You're like, oh, this
yes,
isn't.
sir.
No, that this isn't even my van, officer.
Hilarious. Oh no, officer. Those seats are for when I kidnap children.
Yeah, right. They just happen to be empty because I'm having a slow day. Like,
Yeah, I'm having a bit of a rough, slow day, but I'm going to the Walmart right now. It's to pick up a few, see if I can. No,
yeah.
no. Anyways,
The last time I got pulled over was bull. Actually, it was
I've
silly.
gotten pulled over all stupid reasons.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, you got long hair.
Yeah, but that wasn't.
There's some profiling.
Yeah, that's true, but
Hmm. Yep.
no,
If you look like a derelict, not that you look like a
yeah,
derelict, but you know, there is some
yeah.
profiling that happens for
Oh, for
sure,
sure, for
and
sure.
I'm sure it's a little bit in today's current society, there's probably hopefully less profiling because we've kind
I
of
think
been
there is.
awakened to some of the profiling things that have happened. Hopefully, there's less of it now.
Hmm.
But last time I got pulled over, it was crazy. I was trying to get home because my battery light came on in my car. So,
Mm.
Saule, you'll be able to you'll know this all about this kind of thing. So the battery light comes on. So I'm like, oh no, now all my electricity is running off the battery. Like
Hmm.
something's going on with my alternator. I don't know what's going on, but either way, I've got a limited amount of time before my car just stops running, right? And so I'm going, and I'm not even going. I'm going the speed limit, right? But I was on a road where you had two lanes going in each direction, right? I was in the left lane, so I was in the passing lane, but that was because I was going to be turning left at the next corner. So I was in the left lane, getting ready to go into the left turn lane to then turn left on the next road, and a person passes me on the right, just blows by me, just right? going well over the speed limit. And so I turn down this road. I look behind me. The cop flips around and he comes after. I'm like, oh, good. He's going to get that guy who's going really, really fast, right? Who just blew by me on the right hand side. I don't like being passed on the right anyway. Like, it's a thing. But anyway, so I turn left onto this little country road, right? And he turns behind me. And he turns on his lights and he stops me. And I'm like, can I help you? He's like, well, I clocked you and you were going like 70 miles an hour in a 55. And I'm like, are you sure it was me? And usually that's the wrong answer with a policeman. You don't try. Okay. Don't argue with police if you can help it. Even politely.
What do you say though?
Right.
Like,
right.
No, that was the guy who passed me.
I'm like, there was a guy who passed me on the right-hand side. Are you sure that it didn't clock that person, that was going really fast and me? He's like, oh, no, it was you. And I'm like, he's like, well, where are you going? I'm like, I'm trying to get home. I live like 3 miles from here and my battery light came on. And so I have a limited amount of time before my car dies and I need somebody to help me, get home. So I'm trying to get home and I didn't say this, but I'm like, and right now the clock's ticking, buddy. Like, come on. So he took my license and my registration and all that stuff, and he went back to his car, and then he came back and he's like, okay, there might have been some kind of glitch with my radar gun or whatever here, just hopefully you can get home. You want me to follow you? And I'm like, sure, just in case my car dies, I'll have some help. So he followed me home, and that was kind of nice. But anyway,
wow,
pulled me over for a guy passing me on the right.
I wonder if his machines notified him of something that wasn't the car that he pulled over.
Maybe.
Because the machine probably reads the license plate.
I don't think
it can.
I don't think it reads the license plate. That's just a radar. That's just a radar gun that just
a radar gun. But
speed.
I could imagine that the radar guns could ping the license plate. They have the technology for that.
Maybe. I don't know. Either way, so he says, we got pulled over going to church. My dad's Mustang. We were going 5 under in the slow lane. He gave us a warning for going too fast. That's interesting. And you're right. Alternator failures are not fun. In Nissan's, the parking brake light and the check engine light at the same time if the alternator failed. What? That's weird. Your battery light doesn't come on? Interesting. And no, this was during the day. This was broad daylight. Yeah. I've dealt with my fair share of alternator problems. Anytime the battery light comes on, I'm like, uh-oh. Clock's ticking, man. Car's going to die. And I don't know how long I have. So I was out doing inspections one time. My battery light came on. I'm like, oh, no. Where's the auto parts place? Nearest auto parts place. And I go there. And, I have a toolkit in the back of my car always.
Yep.
Because I always drive junker cars usually. And
they're cheaper.
So I go up there and I open up my hood and I pull out my alternator, and I take it into the store and I have them check it, and sure enough it's bad. And so I buy a new one, put it in there. I did the whole repair and then completed my inspections day.
That day. Wow. That's impressive, man.
That was cool.
Very impressive.
Anyway, sorry. I had that happen. I did not have a battery light on my car, as far as I know. It ran for a couple days like that before we had time to take it in. Okay. 04 Sentra. Wow. You got a couple days out of it. The most I've ever gotten was maybe a couple hours from when the battery light came on to when the car died. But, yeah. It's interesting. But anyway.
One time I got pulled over. This was the dumbest one. I had a couple of dumb ones, but this was the dumbest one. I got pulled over. I was in the center lane. It was a 3-lane, but it wasn't like a highway. It was just a main street. I turn my blinker on, go to the right, and a cop follows me into that lane. And then I put my blinker on and turn right on the next street. The cop follows me and he turns and he pulls me over. And then, he kind of comes up to me and he says, hey, I can't remember what he said, but he's like, basically like, do you know why I pulled you over? And I said, I actually do not know. And he said, because you didn't turn your blinker on in time. And
In
I was like,
time.
in time. I was like, because he said he didn't turn my blinker on, and I said I did turn my blinker on. Is it not working? And he said, no, I saw it tick just before you turned. And I was like, okay, so it did go on. And he said, yes, but by law, you have to have your blinker on 400 feet before you turn. And I was like, okay, that's easy. I did that. And he said, no, you didn't. And I was like, okay. So he wrote me up a ticket, and I actually took it to the court, to the judge's, whatever, the courthouse, whatever that place is called.
Yeah.
And apparently that is not even a law.
Oh, really?
There's no in Colorado where we were driving, there's no specific even feet requirement given in the law.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, overruled. Turn. That was dumb though, because it's a waste of time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did the cop show up?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, I just went to friend of court or
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
Yeah.
And they said it wasn't a law?
Me and Kyle researched it. We didn't find it in the paper, in the
Oh,
laws,
in the laws?
you
Okay.
know. And then and we took it to them, and I said, we didn't find anything about this. And then she said, yeah, I've never heard of this. And then she used the computer for a little bit, and she said, yeah, I don't know what this guy was thinking. And I was like, okay,
So they canceled
cool.
it, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
But that was dumb because it was a waste of time.
Yeah. 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 People making up laws on the spot, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, right.
Weird.
400 feet. There could be 2 turns in 400 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyways, that was neither here nor there. Let's get back to the topics if we have one. It looks like we don't have anybody here, so we could do an old one.
We could. Yep. So I have read off the names. We'll just start going down the list of the ones from earlier this year. So we've got one from Dracon. We haven't seen them since April 21st. So yeah. So we'll do this one. This is called Parental Troubles. From Dracon. And let's see. Are you gonna do the link or am I gonna do the link?
Here, I got the link right here for you.
You got the link?
There you go.
Oh, dude,
Feel free to click if you want to read along.
you're amazing. I'm not ready yet. You're like,
That's
wait a
okay.
second.
Take your time.
Huh?
I said take your time.
Okay. Because I see you got the link there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes. All right. Cool. So, this one is from Dracon, and it is called Parental Troubles. And you can read along with me as I read it out loud. So, okay, here goes. I know I might seem like a spoiled brat for this, but I feel as though my parents aren't exactly being fair to me. They often will lecture me about things I could not have known to do or mundane things to the point where I think they might actually enjoy this. They often will lecture me, calling me lazy for not doing the work to make money. Like, for example, saying that I only pull 3 weeds for what I said was an hour's work a few years ago. And will also not pay me with the same saying of, we forgot, for the actual work that I do, such as bringing down paint and car parts. They will also restrict my access to certain things for not doing my schoolwork, but give me rewards instead of removing the punishments when I do well, which I feel removes the point of a punishment. Could someone help me with this? And that is from Dracon. So, Dracon, if you happen to watch this, thank you so much for the topic. We really appreciate it. And yeah, we're sorry we didn't get to it on the day that you posted it, but a lot of times we, have a lot to go through. Yeah, I know this is definitely a challenge. Consistency is a big deal for us, and it's tough when people in authority are inconsistent, it seems like to us, or seemingly unfair, and sometimes like the whole thing with Ryan's getting pulled over there. Sometimes people just make it up as they go along. They see a certain situation and they think a certain thing about that situation, and so they react, and you end up with maybe an unjust punishment. I think Princess just joined us. I
Hi,
heard the
Princess.
I heard the ding dong, which is exciting because I'm always so happy when Princess shows up.
There's no
Yes,
sounds. Oh,
apologize
there
for
it is.
being late. Sorry, I had to set up everything. Also, there was an ambulance outside and a
Oh,
fire truck that had pulled away, and then the elevator broke on the way up.
oh my gosh.
It's been interesting, but I'm here. I
Wow. Well, welcome. I'm glad
Nice.
you made it.
hope I'm not interrupting in the middle of a
No,
topic.
No, we
you're
just
fine.
we just started Drakon the Parental Troubles one. And I
Real
just read through
quick,
it.
Frednick, if you have a topic for us, yours would be the first
Yep.
because we don't have anybody in that's here in our queue. We have a queue, but it's no one that's actually here right now
Yep.
is in the queue. So if you
So
have a topic,
you would
please
be
post it
welcome.
for us.
Yes.
I'm assuming you covered ashes.
Yes, we
Mhm.
did. We did.
Okay,
We
cool.
we posted a link. Do you want to see the Joe's long hair pictures?
I would love to, but we can do that after the show, I'm sure.
All right.
We don't need to detract from the show for that.
Yes. Okay. They are cool pictures. But anyway, um Drakon, thank you for this topic, and I definitely understand the feeling of frustration that can happen when things seem unfair, or when it seems like people are making things up, or not being consistent with punishments. That can be a really, really tough thing. And so I appreciate you bringing this to our attention and to light. And I'm going to turn it over to Ryan and see what he has to say. So, Ryan, have at it.
All right, I'll do my best. This is a interesting thing. Just to kind of say what you said in the beginning. I know I might seem like a spoiled brat for this, but I feel as though my parents aren't exactly being fair to me. And yeah, don't expect your parents to be fair to you. The truth is, your parents are human, and your parents will be fair to no one.
Mm.
People in general are not going to be fair. People are not oftentimes concerned with fairness. They're concerned with themselves
Mhm.
or concerned with the best for someone else. And that might be in their mind. They're trying to raise you the best they can, right? Um, but it doesn't always translate into being fair. And in no way am I saying, yeah, you are a spoiled brat. No, absolutely not. It's natural and it's right for you to want things to be fair. You want to be fairly treated, right? It's important that you have that sense of value of self, right? You need to have self value. You need to look at yourself and say, yeah, I'm not being treated fairly. You need to be able to distinguish that and stand up for yourself at times when that's going on in the world around you. And when you see someone else that's treated unfairly, stand up for them, right?
Mhm.
Being humble is the act of understanding value, the value of yourself and the value of others, and that you guys are equal. And if you're willing to stand up for yourself, then you should stand up for others as well. If you're willing to stand up for others, then you should also stand up for yourself. That's true humility. It's an understanding of balance between value. Um, and then, so it's not that necessarily you're a spoiled brat for thinking that it's unfair. However, there comes a point in life where you have to recognize the world is never going to be fair. The world is full of pain and sorrow and all this kind of stuff that isn't great. It's also full of awesome stuff. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not trying to say the world is just terrible. It's full of all sorts of different things. But the world doesn't exist so like we as humans don't exist on this world in order that we are treated fairly. I mean, there are too many laws set in motion that are just the opposite of that. I mean, look at nature itself. You have natural disasters. How are those fair? It's not. There's not even a balance of fairness to be had. Yeah, animals who kill other animals. Well, that animal's dead now. What, like there's no sense of fairness in that, right?
Mhm.
Um, an animal comes like a cow eats all the grass. How is that fair? I mean, maybe it's not necessarily as harmful, or we don't look at it as severely or like as dark as an animal eating an animal, but the grass is just doing its own thing. It's growing, and then here comes the cow and it eats the grass, and the cow survives. Um, the world doesn't exist so that we can experience fairness. The only thing we can do is try to make things the best, right? So I wouldn't say that you are a spoiled brat for wanting things to be fair, but I will say it's up to you to make the best of any scenario. Um, and so you really have to expect things not to be fair, especially from your parents. Your parents aren't looking at you as someone whom they have employed, right? Um, it's a different relationship between your parents and you than it is between an employer and an employee, right? Someone who has a job, someone who works a job for their boss, there's contracts that are signed to make sure that the boss pays correctly. There's all these law binding uh, artifacts in order to assure that the employee is treated fairly in the workplace. That even actually goes for being hired. When you're hired, it's hired on a fair basis because people have fought for that. And now there are laws that exist because of that. But between a parent and a child, there isn't paperwork binding them. You're just their kin by blood. You have been made by them. You are created by them. And it is their job to love you. When you're born as a baby, they feed you. And you didn't do anything for that, but they are there and they're feeding you. They're working for you. They're changing your diaper. They're doing all this stuff. Or if they're not doing it, they've paid someone to do it for you. But either way, as a parent, they are going out of their way to support your life so that you can exist without just pure suffering and then dying, right? That's not fair to them. Because what did you do to them? What did you do for them to give you life? What did you do for them that they would feed you? Nothing. So is it okay then for them to treat you poorly? No, that's not right. I can agree with the idea of the way that their punishment and reward system could be not the best, but they believe that's the best, which is why they're doing it. Sometimes what matters more is the intent than the action. We live in a world and in a society that believes action is more important than intent. But personally, I believe that intent is more important because, well, intent is what God sees. That's what the reason you did anything for exists, whatever. So you have to think about their intent. If they're intending to hurt you because they want you to feel bad, that makes them bullies, right? That makes them terrible parents. Yes. But if instead they're intending to do it, they're doing it because they intend to give you the best life, to raise you the best they know how, that's completely different. That's loving. That's like they're doing the best they can. They're already doing their best. What yes, it stinks, but still that's what they're trying. They're trying to do their best, and that means a lot, right? That's heartfelt. That's beautiful, even if it stinks. So I think it's up to you to truly discern that. And if you cannot discern that on your own because you cannot read their minds, it's better to ask them. It's far better to ask them. Now, obviously asking them, hey, are you trying to be a bully to me or are you trying to love me is a weird question. And it's going to get, I'm trying to love you, kid. Of course they're going to say that. But there are different ways to ask things and get answers that are, as long as you ask it in a way that isn't like trying to make them answer poorly. You can ask things like, hey, why are you punishing me this way instead of this other way? Why do you choose to basically you go to them and you ask them, quite frankly, just in an open conversation that's calm, right? I've always said this before. if you have something important to talk to someone about, open up with a normal conversation. Could be about anything. I often refer to donuts. Ask them what their favorite donut is. Make it light and easy for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, go in and say, hey, I got a question for you. How come, or why, or what's your reasoning behind, or what's your opinion behind? Because that gets them to open up about answering and not feel attacked, right? So you really want to open up with something that doesn't make them feel like they're being attacked. So you say, hey, I'm just curious about the way you think about this. So, and then you put out your question like, hey, so when you punish someone, right? Like, let's say you have a child, you can give them a hypothetical and it's about you and it doesn't matter. So, let's say you have a child. When you punish them, do you punish them out of anger? What's the right thing to do? Do you punish them out of anger or do you punish them so that they can change, right? Or just ask them in general, why do you punish children? What's your reasoning behind punishment? And if they say, oh, it's because we want to help that person grow, then that's great. If someone says, well, they did something wrong, so they deserve wrongness, that's not the right answer, right? If someone does something wrong, then therefore we deserve to punish them because that would be making them feel pain for the wrong that they did. That's a justice system, not a parenting system, right? Justice is important between parent and child, but the justice is there to teach them. So if they say that, you say, well, what's the point in that? Why do you, is it just to make them feel bad? And they could, if they end up saying, no, it's to teach them, so they stop doing it, then you have your answer, right? But if they don't get that far, then there's a chance that it's not clicking for them in their brain, what their role is as a parent. Now, here's the thing. A lot of parents don't know their role as a parent because no one teaches parents how to be a parent. They just are one. And it's hard. And you do the best you can. But a lot of times as a parent, you're just like the child. You respond emotionally and you let that emotion out onto the child. And that child feels your wrath of your emotion and can't do anything about it. And that's not necessarily the right answer, the right way to go about doing things, right? So it's important to ask your parents these questions to help them figure out what's the right course of action. Why am I doing this? Am I being a nuisance to my child or am I helping them grow? Because that's really important. And there's, different ways you can do this. You could third party them, which is what I like to do. Third party is when you reference someone else and you reference their story to teach them a lesson. Like I heard my friend, he was talking about his mom, and he said that his mom said that she was, she punished him so that the child could learn, not just so the child felt punishment, things like that. And then you third party them, and they go, oh, that's pretty smart. You give them a story, right? That was a really short bit, but usually you give them the story before you ask the question so that if they get it wrong, you don't give them the chance to get it wrong. So if you think that they're going to get the answer wrong, you third party them before you ask the question. So you say, I was talking to my friend the other day and he said that, his mom, when she punishes him, she's never really angry. She's upset that whatever happened, but she's not actually angry by the time she punishes her kid. She's already over it. And she just lays down the law so that the child can grow and become a better person. What about you? How do you take this? Like when I do something wrong, are you, what's your emotional, what's your process? And ask them that. And they might just go, that's an interesting one. I haven't really thought about that. Or they might say, oh yeah, I'm the same. I'm not actually angry at you a lot of times. I just yell at you as if I'm angry because that gets the point across. That makes you afraid of me. That makes you scared, and that puts the message across, right? And maybe they'll say that, or maybe they'll be like, nah, man, that ain't me. I just let my emotions go, and I just, I just pile it on you, and I, etc. Because some people do that, and they don't know that that's wrong. But I think that having a conversation with your parent about this is the best thing you can do, because not only does it get you your answer as to why they're doing this, but it also gives them the opportunity to fix their ways, to question themselves so as to treat you differently and hopefully more fairly, or at least better in the future. But that's my best for this Dracon. I'm going to give it over to Joe and see what he's got to say.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you, Ryan. Fairness is a tough thing. And as a parent, sometimes we forget our role. We forget that, our job is to help prepare our kids for the world, right? And prepare them for, I'm a Catholic, Ryan, you're a Catholic. And, so it's like we prepare them for sainthood as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like and it's a big responsibility, because like here's a person made in the image of God, and it's like, okay, I have a responsibility to bring this person up so they can know God, and so and from that also be able to make their way in the world. And that's a big responsibility. And when we feel slighted by something our kid is doing, you can always tell. There are parents who yell at their kids in the store because they're trying to correct the kid's behavior and trying to help them not act that way. And there are parents who yell at their kids in the store because they're embarrassed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a difference. So, like, and the idea is we have to put our kids first. And so I love what Ryan was talking about, because sometimes even I have to be reminded as a parent that, I might be getting really upset right now because there's this situation going on. And I remember a guy saying one time, he said, "Do you realize that a timeout is just as important for the parent as it is for the kid?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's good. Because I might be like getting upset here. And it might be, okay, we got to take a timeout, and you put the kid in timeout, and then you go and you're like, okay, I got to just like not be upset, because punishing when you're angry, that's not the right time to punish, because now you're acting with revenge and punishment rather than making corrections in the behavior, right? They talk about prisons being correctional facilities. That's an interesting thing right there, that we could talk about that for a long time. I think it falls short of
I think
the
so,
title.
a lot.
I think what actually happens there falls short of correcting behavior.
Yeah, it oftentimes makes it worse because you're hanging out with people who have behavior problems.
Exactly. And so and it just gets to be a tough thing. So Saule has a bunch of great stuff in the chat. I'm going to read through it if you don't mind. Slightly off topic, maybe. I don't think it's off topic, to be honest. On the idea of fairness. Fairness is based on equality. There's a difference between equality of opportunity and equality of outcome. Fairness is equality of opportunity. But equality of outcome is a lot easier to measure, so you run into equality of outcome a lot in life. And it's not fair, not at all, but it's something to look out for. You see equality of opportunity in rules for sports like football and soccer. The game is fair because both teams have the same opportunity to play the game with the same rules. You see equality of outcome in laws. There are laws that try to make sure that people groups have similar stats in various statistical areas. It's hard to make sure that the same opportunities are given, so it's the best way the government has found to enforce fairness, even though it's not necessarily fair. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Now, there are times when fairness becomes a question. And I'll tell you, I can't go too far into this, but I will tell you that fairness is one of the key ingredients in the divorce I'm going through right now. And fairness was not going to be something that both parties would have agreed upon, I guess. And so a third party had to get involved. And that's about as far as I can go. But anyway, so sometimes the legal system does get involved to balance between two people. It happens in lawsuits. It happens in, all these kinds of different things. Like they try to determine, what's the right course of action. What is the fair outcome? Here we got a fairness of outcome. And also the fairness of opportunity as far as parenting and stuff like that. Right. So there's, I don't know, sometimes you do have to get the law involved, but like Ryan said right at the beginning, life isn't fair. There's a whole lot of things that aren't fair. My brother has a genetic mutation that caused him to have pancreatic cancer. And that, it runs in my family, the genetic mutation. There are a few of my cousins that have it. One of my cousins who just died from pancreatic cancer a few weeks ago. Neither one of his he has a brother and a sister, and neither one of them have the mutation. Now, this came from my mom's side of the family. My mom has the mutation. She passed it on to my brother. Both of her brothers, my mom's brothers, so my uncles, both of my uncles also have the mutation. So all of us generation, all my cousins and my brother and I, we're all, we might have it, we might not have it. And so all of us have been getting tested. So my brother tested positive for this mutation. He had pancreatic cancer. He had massive surgery. Massive. Like they rearranged his insides incredibly.
Yeah, moved things to different locations.
It was amazing.
Crazy.
Like this surgery was incredible. And he's good now. He went through chemo, radiation, the surgery, and then more chemo after that, to get rid of all the loose, if there were any other cancer cells, they just blasted them to try and get rid of those last cancer cells. And at his last treatment, they did a blood test, and there were no cancer cells in his blood.
Good.
And his scans were clean. So for now, he's good. Now, I sent my sample in to be tested for this mutation. I don't have the mutation. Now, that's not fair. My brother has this genetic mutation, causes cancer. I do not have this genetic mutation. I felt really bad. Like I had that survivor's guilt,
Yeah.
Like I was like,
I had that.
I mean, on one end, I'm glad because I've got kids too, and they don't, so now they don't have to. It stopped, because I can't pass it on since I don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
So my kids don't have to worry about it. But now my brother's kids have to, my niece and my nephews, they're going to have to get checked for it, and I thought about that. I'm like, that is not fair at all. And I wished at the time, man, I was like, I wish I could switch places with you. Because I'd much rather, I love my brother. I don't want him to have to go through this craziness. But he went through it like a champ. As he does pretty much everything in his life. He's a champ, right? Like, he's amazing.
Yes.
But, yeah, that's not fair. Go to a pediatric cancer ward in any hospital. You will see unfairness at the highest level. You see little kids that have cancer. Natural disasters, fires, all these kinds of things that happen. It's not fair. Car accidents when you're not at fault, that's not fair. There's all kinds of not fair. But Ryan has a point. When it comes to discipline, what's at the heart of the matter has to be addressed. Are you just trying to get revenge on your child for something they did? Or are you trying to help them understand how to live their life? Because if I see my kids doing something that's not going to be good for entering the world, I'm going to do my best to address it in some way. And now my kids are a little bit older, we can reason with each other a little bit more. But when they're little, man, it's really simple. You got to somehow cause pain to program them that that's the wrong course of action. Now we can talk about stuff, right? And we can kind of,
which is equally painful.
oh my gosh. You guys listen to me talk right now. I'm going to have to just shut up because, yes, this is a painful experience for all of you to listen to me talk.
You're good. I meant the other way around. Like, it's hard for the kids. It's
Oh,
pain
yeah.
for them to have to have that conversation.
I got to sit and listen to my dad talk. And then they give you the look.
And scold you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but now my kids are getting mouthy, like they're super fun.
I was, whenever my mom would scold me, whenever we had like a conversation, like maybe I didn't do something I was supposed to do, or whatever, I just go, okay, mom. Yes. Yeah, you're right. Okay, mom. And she would just be like, are you even listening to me? I'm like, yes, mom, I'm listening to you. Shut up. Like, because I was like agreeing with her, and she was like, I don't know how to, because Kyle would argue with her, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everything that, it's like, you did this wrong, and now Kyle's got an argument on his hands. So
yeah, well, because Kyle knows his stuff, and he's right.
Right. Whenever she was dealing with Kyle and like doing something, it was like this huge argument of what's right and what's wrong and blah, blah, blah. And whenever she's dealing with me, I'm just like, yes, mom. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Yep, I should have done better. And she's like, something wrong with you.
Well, that is tough. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've done that before. And what happens when someone's just agreeing with every statement? Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. There's a clue there. That person is checked out.
Yeah.
Of the
I was
conversation.
always checked out emotionally, but I was still there listening. I was like, yeah, they're right. Okay. Yeah. Yep. You can really stop now.
I understand.
It's basically, and I'm just trying to get this over with as fast as possible because I already get it. You don't have to scold me. We're already through this process. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to move it along.
Yeah, but I mean, probably your mom needed to vent.
Yeah, that's
because she was frustrated, right?
That makes sense.
She was upset. Yeah. I mean, like Ryan said, we're human. Parents are human. Mm-hmm. Kids are human. We're all human beings. Grown-ups are just grown-up little kids. Mm-hmm. And you see it. Man, watch if you're home during the day, I don't know if these shows are still on. I remember when I was home during the day, sometimes they'd have different court shows on.
Oh.
Or some of the talk shows like Maury or Jerry Springer or some of those. Like, you want to see grown-ups acting like kids?
It's
man,
sad,
oh man.
Though. It's really sad. I hated those shows.
Man, oh man. Holy cow. Just...
It's okay if someone likes them in the chat, by the way.
Oh, yeah. They're entertaining.
Entertainment is entertainment. Yeah.
It is.
Personally, I was just like, I don't want to watch this. I'd rather watch a cartoon.
Yeah.
If it's going to be dumb, just let it be dumb.
Right. But man, oh man, it gets crazy. So, Ryan, did you have anything else to talk about with this one?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Yep. Dracon, thank you so much for the topic. If you're here at some point and you see this or listen to this, thank you very much. We couldn't do this show without your guys' topics. We love you. And hopefully that's helpful. I mean, it's tough, man. I was over at Steve's. He plays guitar with me in a single duel, and we were working on his studio and everything, and we were having this conversation, and he's got a little girl. She's like 3, she's like 5 or 4 or something.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, she's awesome. She's so fun. She's we were playing around and everything, and it's like, he said something about her behavior, and I'm like, yeah, isn't it amazing? Like, when she gets older, she'll just be a grown-up her. She'll still be her. She'll just be a grown-up version of her, right? And it's so true. I'm like, and we're just grown-up little boys.
Grown-up little boys.
What's that?
We're just grown-up little boys.
Right. Yep. Yeah. It's for sure. So, I mean, people are people at every age. And we learn and we grow, and hopefully we can change, and improve. But, man, Sometimes it takes some hard knocks. I'm generally that guy that needs a lot of the hard knocks to learn stuff, I guess. Um, I need the experience. That's hard. It's
Will do.
painful usually.
Uh-huh.
But yes, she is an age. That's right.
That's right.
But she's a natural leader, man. She had us in there doing all this choreography, you know?
Really?
Wave your
That's
hands
great.
in the air, yeah. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
That's cute.
Clap your hands, stomp your feet. Oh man, we did that for like half an hour. You know, she just
Workout.
kept repeating it, you know, and we're just in there. It was great.
That's great.
But anyway, thank you, Drakon, for the topic. And we will now move on. Frednick, are you still? I think you're probably still here. You just put a topic in there.
Yeah. I think they're here. Frednick, I
Yes.
like your profile picture. What is that from? Oh, I mean on the website,
Oh,
by the way.
okay.
I can't see the one in the YouTube because it's too small on my screen.
It is very small. It is SM all small.
Small. So small.
Yeah, that
They're
is a
still here.
cool. That is cool. Right on. So Princess has the topic posted in the chat for you guys. And yeah, this is the one. What is this called?
Awkward relationship.
Awkward relationship. All right. And we'll be happy to do this topic. And so a webtoon called My Deepest Secret. Right on.
I see.
Cool. So Princess, when you are ready, you can feel free to read it.
Thank you for giving me the honor of reading the topic.
You're welcome. I give you my permission.
I have permission. Wow.
Wow.
So special. Anyway, so this is awkward relationship. Well, I went to a week-long camp a few years ago. It was my first time going to any sort of camp. The whole experience was new to me. On the second or third day, I met a girl. She was 2 or 3 years younger than me. We hung out together for most of the week, and on Friday, she asked me to go to the banquet. I think it was mostly because she didn't have anyone else to ask, pardon. Anyways, we haven't met IRL since. We've done a few video calls and we've been messaging each other. Nothing too serious. A couple years ago, she pranked me by confessing to me. I thought it was true, so I tried to do the responsible thing and told her to wait. She then told me it was a prank and a dare from a cousin of hers. Anyway, I'm not trying to pursue her. I don't think she's trying to pursue me. I don't know. Every time we talk, it seems pretty awkward. To me, at least. I was wondering what you guys suggest to make things less awkward. From Frednick.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is an interesting topic.
Yeah.
Um
Exciting.
oh my.
Dramatic.
Yeah, wow. How to make things less awkward. So, okay, so you met IRL. That your first meet was IRL, and now it's been online ever since. So all right, and so then you've been in contact still, and then she confessed to you. I'm guessing what that means is she confessing to you meant she confessed that she had feelings for you, or she liked you, or something like that. Is that what that?
Yeah.
I imagine that's what that means. And so, but then she told you it was a prank. Oh wow. I can definitely understand why it would feel awkward to now talk to this person. So so every time you talk now it seems awkward, even though this happened a couple years ago?
Yeah, that's what I'm a little bit curious about. It's been a couple of years and it's still awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if that's the case, it feels awkward to you. Has there wow. Has there been a big change in how she talks to you or how you talk to her, or is it just a feeling that you get? Because sometimes there's a difference. You just feel awkward. Okay.
Has she expressed any feeling of awkwardness? Just out of curiosity, that you can sense?
That's a good question. Um, but yeah, I can definitely see how that would feel pretty awkward. And my heart goes out to you cuz and man, I have a lot of respect for you, Frednick, because to continue the relationship amidst the awkwardness, that's that's a bold move. You're doing what Ryan would say and embracing the awkward. And I'm impressed because a lot of times I would just say, Psh, okay, that's enough of that. I don't have to talk to you anymore. I got other stuff I can do. like, but you know, but people, we care about people too, and so we want to stay in contact. We want to be friends. We want to still, be there for people, and it's nice when they're there for us. And so, a lot of times, we want to, continue that. It pretty much started after the first video call. So the awkwardness started, or was that? Did she say that in the first video call, and that's what made it awkward, or was it just the awkwardness of the video calls? Because that could be as well. But anyway, man, Ryan, you have a bit of experience with awkwardness and with online relationships. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
I'll
So
give it my best.
yes. So Ryan, take it away.
Yeah. For starters, I just want to say, on a nice note, my brother met his current wife, as if it's changing. His wife, his only wife that he's ever had.
His
and
first wife.
It's his own, yeah, his first and last wife. Who he now has 6 kids with.
Mhm.
He met at a camp, and after the camp, there didn't seem to be a real interest for her in him, nor him in her, but they kept on talking over the internet, and after a couple of years, they ended up basically becoming boyfriend and girlfriend, and without ever actually saying that they were, and then they got married. So, yeah, 6 kids, it's a lot. But anyways, yeah. So, if you feel like, hey, maybe I would end up dating this person, it happens. But if not, I'm not going to pressure you to do it. So yeah, you said the prank wasn't in a call; it was through a message. Yeah, I'm really glad it wasn't a call. Yeah, I would be too.
Mhm.
So yeah, because I could just imagine just being there and being like, I don't know what to do with my body
Yeah.
now that this has just happened.
I'm going voice only now. Click.
Yeah, click. Hi, you can still hold on. I don't know how to talk anymore. Click. I'll type. Anyways, no, I think the first step to getting over awkwardness is to, like Joe said, embrace the awkward. If you embrace the awkward, it helps you get over the awkwardness. What does it mean to embrace the awkward? It means to lean into it. It means when that awkwardness is there, just to let it be. And then once you do that, you don't have to feel like, oh man, it's really awkward. What do I say? How do I continue the conversation? Blah, blah, blah. Instead, your mind goes from a shift of like freaking out to going, oh, the awkward part. Here we are. Cool. All right. So what do I want to do? All right. Well, oh, I did want to talk to her about this. And then you bring up a conversation, and it's a lot more natural, right? It's not like, oh shoot, what do I do? How do I get out of this? How do I pretend it's not awkward? How do I, stop the silence from happening? If you embrace the awkward, you just let it happen. You allow things to be silent and just say, yeah, that's what it is. And the awkwardness feeling fades away. And then you can actually be real with the person and have real things to say, and conversation moves a lot more smoothly. That is a thing you have to practice. It's the only way to do that, is experience awkward moments And the first thing you do when you experience an awkward moment is go, yes, it's awkward. Yes, I made it here. This is a training ground. I made it to the training grounds, right? Make it feel like you wanted it to be awkward, right? Kind of like if you're going off on an adventure, let's say you're playing a video game and you get into your first combat, you're like, yes, I did it. I'm in my first combat, right? I'm in my first combat experience. Now I can train. Now I can learn how to play the game, how I can, etc. And you get excited, right? Take awkwardness the same way, where you enter into it and just go, yes, I made it to the training grounds. Like, yes, this is where I wanted to be. If you can do that, it reprograms your brain to accept awkwardness and not run from it. See, awkwardness to the human mind, humans are social creatures. So we have natural social animalistic reactions. We have fight or flight mechanisms, right? But it's actually, there's three of them. I can't remember the other one. It's actually fight, flight, or
fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah, freeze. There you
which
go.
is mine.
Yeah, fight, flight, or flight, fright, or fight, flight, or freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I think a lot of times people in awkwardness freeze. Some people, they flight, they just run away. And they don't know what to do. Their mind just goes, I'm out of here. Everything goes blank, and they go and they leave. They're like, all right, yep, have a good day. And they walk away, right? And then there's fight. And usually people don't respond with fighting because humans are social creatures. We don't tend to have that response to awkwardness. So I guess if you do, you can share that in the chat, what that's like. But anyways, so if you can embrace the awkwardness, allow it to be there and realize it's not hurting you. It's not doing anything bad to you. It's just a mental experience that you're experiencing. In fact, it's not even physical. It's not tangible. It's not a real thing. It's just something your brain is currently going through. If you can just accept that, then the fight or flight or freeze mechanic of your brain will not be triggered. And therefore, you'll have calm, respectable, honest, and open and good human interaction skills. And then the awkwardness starts to go away. The awkwardness of those conversations start to go away. And in fact, any awkwardness that you get into life starts to go away. Whenever you have a conversation with anybody and there's that silent moment, you're the one in the room going, yeah, it's silent. Who cares? It's silence happens. That's not awkward. Instead of being the one in the room going, awkward, silence. Yep. Because there's no reason to be that person in the room. It's not helping anything because it's not awkward. It's just natural for conversations to end up silent sometimes. It's just natural for things to feel a little bit weird after, something weird happens. But it doesn't mean that you have to go into fight or flight or freeze. Right? So basically, ultimately what I'm saying is embrace the awkward. Just like Joe said, if you can get into those scenarios, want for them, try to make things awkward for yourself and for other people around you. Because that's actually really fun. It's actually really fun.
Depends on how much you like adrenaline.
Yeah. It can be a lot of fun. It can be fun to embarrass yourself and just take it and be like, yeah, that was great. I embarrassed myself. Everyone watched it and it was funny. Because at the end of the day ends and the next day happens. And who cares? Life goes on. And you can take those experiences and gain from them instead of feel like you lost something from them. Because in the end, your perspective matters the most. When you go through an experience, you can say, oh man, that was a bad experience. Or you can go through an experience and say, man, that was a good experience. And it's all a matter of perspective. You can go through something crappy and say, yeah, but I learned a lot from it. So it's really good. Or you can go through something crappy and be like a negative Nancy and be like, oh, my life sinks and I hate living and all this stuff always happens to me and blah, 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 right? That's all just a matter of how you take things, how you want to move forward in life, or if you don't want to move forward in life. And that is through programming yourself, through habits, through taking these challenges and going, yes, I am going to embrace the awkward. Yes, I'm going to try to encounter these things so that I can get better at dealing with them. That's what I'm going to start with. And for online relationships, if they like you, there's not much you can do about it. If they don't actually like you, cool. There's nothing you can really do about it because their thoughts are their thoughts. Their feelings are their feelings. All you can do is embrace who they are as a human being and treat them the best you can, and hope for the best, because you don't get to control other people's feelings. If they're being awkward, if they feel awkward, there's not a whole lot you can do except for try to calm the scenario by being calm yourself. I do have one more thing before I move on to Joe, and that is Joe and I used to do the same job. He's done it for more amount of time than I did, but we're both no longer doing this job. We are doing inspections on houses for mortgage companies, for banks, right? We would go to the house for the bank and say, we don't want to say anything. We just want to take pictures of the house and then leave before anybody sees us.
Right.
But sometimes they come out of their house screaming at you because you're taking pictures of their house for their bank, who is technically the owner of the house. And so they come out of their house and like, what are you doing taking pictures of my house? Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to go get my shotgun, and maybe that's not necessarily awkward, right? But for a lot of people, that's a very scary scenario. That's very intimidating. It calls you to react with a response. But Joe and I both know this from experience. If you just make yourself open, flat-chested. What I mean is, don't guard yourself. Don't look like you're about to fight. Don't walk up cautiously. Don't, just be open. And as if without fear, like you're not even fazed by anything they're saying. And you're just as calm as a windless day. Just perfectly calm. What happens is they're going to start yelling, and they're going to start getting quieter with their yelling and quieter until it just becomes talking to you, until, not even joking, they start hugging you.
Happened to me.
Yep. Happened to me too. And there are times where that's been the occasion, and all I had to do was listen to them, listen to what they had to say. They were so angry, so mad that I showed up their house and taking pictures, and they're yelling at me, threatening me. And I'm just like, yeah, I get it. I get it. I understand what you're going through. That sounds terrible. And I'm just really honest with them. And then what happens? Next month, I have to show up at their house again. And they open the door. And what happens? They smile and they're like, oh, it's you. How are you? Hold on. Stay right there. Hold on. Stay right there. I just made this batch of cookies. Like, isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? If I allowed myself to be feared, if I allowed myself to be intimidated, if I got into fight, flight, or freeze mode, right, that whole scenario would turn out bad for me. It would have. It would have just turned out bad. If I ran away, would have gotten the cops called on me, which is fine, because I got the cops called on me all the time. The cops are like, oh yeah, okay, I know who you are. Don't worry about it. Go on. But the first couple of times it was annoying because I'm just sitting there. I'm like, it's my job. But anyways, yeah. So basically, if you run away, if you can't just be calm, what's going to happen is you're not going to help the other person. But if you can be calm when someone's yelling at you and freaking out, they tend to start to mimic your response. They start to calm down because you're giving them a calm environment. And you start to agree with them. You're just like, yeah, I get it. That sounds really rough. Oh man, I feel bad for you. That sounds really rough. What they're going through. All of a sudden, now you guys feel like you're on the same page, and it's a calm scenario, and you guys become friends. And that ties back into the awkwardness. If you're feeling things are awkward, you're generally not calm. You're in an agitated state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can be calm, what you're going to do is you're going to calm the other person. And so that reduces the awkwardness and tension on their end, because you're not responding in an awkward way. You're responding in a very calm way, a very collected way, a very, hey, this is okay. There's nothing wrong with this kind of way. And that helps them to, to become calm as well. So with that, I'm going to go to Joe, like for real this time, and see what he's got to say.
Man, now you got me all thinking about inspections again, and why I'm so glad I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's been a month. It's been over a month since I've done an
Congrats.
inspection. This feels so good. But anyway, yeah, that led to a lot of awkward moments for sure, and that's in your face awkward moments. But awkwardness is one of those weird things, like Ryan was talking about. It's kind of where we're a little bit agitated. We kind of our limbic system of our brain starts to take over. That's the freeze, fight, or flight. It's also what causes anxiety. And panic and stuff like that. Oh, thanks, Princess. But yeah. So, but what Ryan was talking about is spot on. Absolutely spot on, because it's like if we can embrace that experience, any other awkward experience that comes along in our life is minimized. I can remember before I did inspections, it was really awkward for me sometimes to stand up on a principal, especially if that person was like my boss or my mother-in-law or whatever, right? Like there'd be this really tense, awkward thing happening because I was like, this needs to be addressed. And I'd feel the adrenaline. I'd feel the tingles all from head to toe and out to my fingertips and everything just, it was like lightning going through your body.
Oh, man, that brings back memories. Yeah.
And I remember feeling that for my first few years of doing inspections, anytime I'd meet with someone, but gradually over time, as you kind of get a feel for how these things go, that adrenaline rush gets lower and lower and lower, right? And you start to just relax. And so the more interactions you have with this person that are awkward, and the more you just let yourself be there, the less and less awkward you may feel.
I think it's important to say here that if you fight the awkwardness, you're going to be training yourself for the feeling of awkwardness
exactly
to overcome you, right? So you have to decide how you're going to deal with the awkwardness, or else you're not going to help. Just having experience over and over and over doesn't make you better at it. You actually have to learn how to deal with that, and then do the dealing with over and over to make yourself better.
Mm-hmm. So here's a couple questions you can ask yourself. Why do you feel awkward? What about this feels awkward? Is it because there was a confession of some kind of romantic feelings? You don't have to answer these in the chat if you don't want to. You can if you want, but you don't. Like, these are just questions to ask yourself to kind of get to the bottom of why. Why do I feel awkward? Why is this happening? Why do I feel this way? These are things that I went through when I was doing inspections. These are things I went through when I would feel awkward in situations where I'd stand up for myself to a boss. I'd ask myself, why does this feel awkward? Is there any risk involved in this? Am I afraid of something? Did it make me feel uncomfortable to have this person profess their feelings for me? Or confess their feelings for me? Do I have feelings like that for her? And so these are questions you can ask yourself to kind of get to the bottom of, why does this make me feel awkward? Okay? And like Ryan said, the awkwardness it's a tension, it's internal. Now, it can be real and physical because you will feel it in your body.
Oh, that's true. Your brain will make your whole body buzz.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You will feel it. but it's a response that's it's brought on by your thoughts, right? And here's another question you can ask yourself. I've been asking this question not necessarily about awkwardness, but about heartache. How can I use it? In my therapy sessions, I had to do this anger thing. And this kind of opened my eyes to any kind of emotion, really. That any emotion, any feeling we have, can be used constructively and positively. Right? So there's a way I can do this. Now, when you're dealing with the limbic system, with the freeze, fight, or flight part of your brain, what's happening is your rational mind is losing control. And you're going into instinct only, right? So there are ways to get out of this. There are things you can do. There's mindfulness stuff that maybe Princess would be able to go through some, because she's helped me when I was dealing with some pretty serious anxiety, to just kind of bring my thought process back to the rational mind. My therapist was talking about things you can do, like, doing things, snap your fingers on your right hand a few times, snap your fingers on the left hand a few times. So you're doing right and left things, right? And, that action alone can bring things from your limbic system back to the rational system of your brain. And so you'll start to think rationally again. Other things, she was like, just put on some music and dance on one leg and then dance on the other leg, and stuff like that, whatever. Count backwards, and when you do it, just pick a number. And I said 40. And she said, okay, so count backwards from 40 just for a few numbers. It's like, okay, 40, 39, 38. And then she's like, okay, stop. I'm like, okay, now skip a few numbers and count backwards again. Okay, 32, 31, 30, stop. Okay, skip a few numbers and start again, 28, 27, 26. And so, like, what that does is it stops you. It makes you start thinking about something, right? And Princess has some really good thoughts on mindfulness, which is just being present in your current moment. She helped me a lot, with like, what are you doing right now? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What does it look like? She's having me describe these things to her, and it really helped move me from where I was just about to panic and back to a calm, more centered, rational thought process. So now these feelings, the feeling of awkwardness, the feeling of heartache, the feeling of anger, can we use it in a positive way? I don't know. It's a good question. Anger can be used for getting things done. I've learned this in my own life. And in fact, it was an exercise of mine from my therapist. Because depression, one of the things I was struggling with when I saw my therapist was depression. And she says, okay, depression a lot of times is frozen anger. So what I need you to do, she gave me this exercise. She's like, you need to make yourself angry. Listen to music that makes you angry. Think about things that make you angry. Make yourself angry, and then release that anger through something physical, through whether it's exercise or punching a punching bag or playing your drums or whatever it is. Do something that releases that anger productively, right? And I remember one time when I was really, really mad about something. It was totally unrelated to what I was doing, but I had a whole bunch of things happening with the court case that I'm dealing with, and I had to get a whole bunch of stuff notarized. So I had to find a notary public at a library somewhere that was still open, and and I only had like an hour to do all this stuff. I had to fill out these documents, get it to the notary, get them to notarize it, and then get these documents to my attorney so my attorney could get the documents to the courthouse, which closed by 4:30, and it needed to be done that day. And I had this other situation in my life that made me upset, that I was mad about. And that anger fueled me through getting those documents completed and getting to the point where they could be done and gotten to my attorney's office on time. It was crazy, but it was really, really helpful. Heartache. My buddy Steve, I'll talk about with him again. I was telling him about, the total pain of all the stuff that I've been going through with, there's a friendship issue, there's my divorce, there's all kinds of stuff going on, there's my kids situation, all this stuff, and it's heartbreaking. It is so painful and it's stressful. And Steve said the craziest thing to me. He's like, man, I mean, it really sucks that you're going through this, but I'm glad. And I'm like, what? He's like, dude, you write the best music when you're going through stuff like this. When you're heartbroken, you write amazing music. And I can't wait to hear the stuff that you write coming out of this stuff as you go through this. And so I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. So this can be used for something productive, maybe. So these are things you can ask yourself as you go through this. Sometimes we can't avoid the awkward, like Ryan was talking about. So we need to embrace it. Hey, all right, I like an adrenaline rush too. I like roller coasters. They're fun. And it's the same feeling. That tingle all through your body, that adrenaline rush, boom. It's the same as that awkward, but you're not on a roller coaster now. You're in front of a person or you're talking to them, right? And you get that, But it's the same thing. Mel Robbins, she's an author. She was like, you know what? Fear and excitement are the same bodily thing. The same. So anytime you're scared, reframe that. And you can be like, oh no, this is excitement. Oh, maybe that's, you know what? I don't like horror movies. Maybe that's what people are after when they like horror movie fans. They're after that excitement.
Sometimes. I think so. Sometimes.
Yeah, maybe.
There's a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, I'm sure. Whatever. Anyway, that's what I would have. And Princess, did you have anything you wanted to share? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I kind of am. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's hard. I've definitely experienced it before. I find for me, I have a really hard time after someone's confessed to me. It's not the same in my head anymore. It's really difficult and I don't like it. Because I don't want to be awkward. And again, most of the times I'm, try to be very friendly. I try to befriend. But there is always for me in the back of my head this reminder that pops up, like a very annoying pop-up ad that just evades your computer's like programming to like have it stop popping up. That's always like lingering there. That's like, hey, this person did this. You got to keep that in mind when you think about them. You got to keep that in mind when you're looking at anything they say. You got to keep that in context when it's largely irrelevant. I would love to say I have an answer. I don't. I really don't. The best thing you can really do, I suppose, for awkwardness, and when it's if it is that type of scenario where you just keep thinking about like the person, and then you think about that they confess to you and that fact lingers there, is to just like remember who they are in that moment. I mean, you can think of it like centering. As you had mentioned before, I have a few centering techniques. My largest one is usually, I have generalized anxiety, so my triggers are usually not super obvious, and they could be anything, and they can kind of show up or not, and sometimes show up and sometimes not. So it's really tough to really manage around, and it's something that you can't avoid, which is good because avoidance is bad. you really don't want to do avoidance when you're nervous or anxious. It just leads to a habit of you not doing things, and it's not good because you can do these things. What matters is trying to get everything to be in the right context and the right perspective. So again, for that, it takes a very large amount of reframing of, hey, they are my friend, as something you really got to remind yourself of. Like the instant that pop-up pops up, they're like, nope, they're my friend. Nope, they're my friend. Or try anyway. And you know, think, and if it starts trying to get really bad about like what are they going to say next? Are they going to prank me again? Because again, there's for me, definitely, when someone's done it, are they going to change their mind? Is it all of a sudden going to be about that again? It's just the thoughts that I naturally have. So it's about trying to be like, how do I get that to stop? Or how do I get that to be framed back into it's not? Which takes a lot of centering, which is where mindfulness comes in. For as much as Joe says that I'm great at mindfulness, I'm not. I'm terrible at mindfulness. I am horrible at meditating.
You were great helping me with mindfulness. Holy cow.
But I am well informed of mindfulness because my mom, I love my mom, but gosh,
I love your mom.
The way you said my mother.
My mother drilled into me mindfulness, and I know it's from a great place of intent. And yes, it was good for me, and that was the point. And it was fine. It's just something that's very hard for me. So it was very difficult when that was constantly like a pressure that was being applied. But you know, again, the biggest thing about mindfulness is being aware of the present moment. It's not about the past and it's not about the future. It's about the now. And that's one of the biggest things. I think awkwardness, you can kind of remove some of that by being focused on the present moment. This isn't about what they've said in the past. It's not about what they're going to say in the future. It's about the words that they're typing to you right now, or they're speaking to you, and focus on them in that moment and be aware of them. Be aware of yourself somewhat, but mostly I find that if you feel awkward, it's because you're being too aware of yourself and your own things and then reflecting it with them.
Yep.
You really don't want to do that. What you want to be focused on is you want to be focused on them. You know, really engaged. What are their words? What's the order they're saying it in? You know, what do you know about them that they've done? You know, and try and engage with them in that moment to be there with them. And that I think is the best thing you can do. How to do that's kind of hard. I'm having a lot of trouble coming up with that, which I'm sure maybe it's already covered, or you could look it up, or maybe they'll have grand ideas. But you know, the biggest thing is that you need to be present in the moment with them, with the present, not, you know, what they have done or what they will do. As I've said probably like 3 times now. But yeah.
Very good, Princess.
That is beautiful. And you know, that's something to be reminded of. We all carry some baggage. Frednick says in the chat here, I've always had the feeling that maybe it wasn't a prank, and she just said that to backtrack, I guess. Maybe that's the cause of the awkwardness. That really could be. It
that's
really
kind of
could be.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. And at some point, you know, we kind of just have to take people's word. If their actions, until their actions tell us something different. Does that make sense? Now, I've been lulled into trusting people that have hurt me really bad before. Right? And that's happened from the time I was really little. I've had this happen. I've just been really trusting of people until finally, when I was a teenager, I was like, instead of trusting people, I'm just gonna hate everybody. You know, and that wasn't very helpful either. Yeah, but yeah. So I don't know. It's a crazy thing, but I love what Princess was getting at. That being present in the present. is so important because so many times we get wrapped up into things that got said or done in the past and the baggage. We just carry those bags around with us. And if we live in the present and we just like smell the air and look around us and see the amazing creation around us, right? See the amazing things that we have all around us. Because no matter where we are, there's amazing stuff around. It might be amazing in a weird kind of way, you know, but it could be, it's still amazing. I'll tell you what, big old trash dumps, you know, they're amazing. They smell amazing when you drive by them, I'll tell you, you know. But, yeah, it's really, that's where our life is, the present. I don't know. Ryan, did you have anything else to say?
Yeah. I've just got a couple of things real quick. So, Frednick, I would tell you a couple of things. This is right along the lines of what Prince was saying. You're going to want to forgive the person. If you don't forgive them, this idea is going to constantly linger in your mind that they did this, or you're not sure what they meant. Forgiveness is important. You can't remain friends with someone unless you learn to forgive, because otherwise everything piles up until you're not friends anymore. Now, I'm not saying that you have an issue with that, but that leads into my next thing. That's this. Whether it's awkwardness or something else, usually awkwardness, one of the best ways to fix it is to talk about the actual issue. I love that Joe earlier said, figure out what it is that makes you feel this way, because that's step one. Once you figure that out, like you said, it might be that you're concerned that she actually did have these feelings for you, right? That's totally okay if she did, but you should know, right? What if I were you, and I'm very gutsy, so I don't expect you to do this, but if I were in your shoes, and this happened to me, which it has before, I would just go to that person and say, hey, we've been friends for this long. This happened a couple of years ago, but I've always been curious. When you remember when you asked me out, did you actually want to go out with me back then? Or was that actually a prank? I'm just curious, because it's always been on my mind whether it's actually something you wanted or if it was a prank, right? And then they'll give you the answer, and then just take them at face value. Take them on their word, like Joe said, and say, okay, now I know. That will solve a lot of the awkwardness, because then your brain won't be worrying or wondering about that scenario. Also, what it does is it helps to make light of the scenario by bringing it up and making it an okay thing that happened, and acknowledging with your own mouth and their presence that it was okay that happened. And that helps your brain to process and start moving past it, right? Because if the issue is something that keeps on getting called back into your mind, if that's what's causing the awkwardness, which it probably is based on your story, then your brain has a holdup. The best way to deal with that holdup is to actually get over it. And that comes through talking about it with the person. And I understand that can be awkward to talk about it, but if you present it in a way that's just buddy-buddy, it's not a big deal. If you make it not a big deal when you talk about it, it won't be a big deal. It'll come out easy. You don't have to be like, so I wanted to talk about something. You don't have to be like that. You can just be like, oh, okay, so several years ago, you remember this? You confessed to me, and then you said it was a prank. So I've always wondered, was it actually a prank, or did you like me back then? And then just take whatever they say at honest face value. And if they say, yeah, I actually did like you, then, oh, that's cool. Do you still like me now? Just,
How do you like me now?
How do you like me now? If they say, if that's the next thing that comes to your mind, just say it. You don't have to worry about it. Because when you worry about it and don't say it, that's a lot of times when things become awkward. Isn't it? When you are worried about the next response, if you ask the next question that comes to your mind, but you don't want to say that question because you're worried about what they're going to say, that's where awkwardness happens.
Mm-hmm.
Just say it. Just say what's on your mind. Obviously, there's times in life where you need to hold your tongue. But if this person is your friend, and they have been your friend for several years now, again, there are times where you need to bite your tongue, but this isn't necessarily one of them. This is about your relationship and getting to know them and understanding them in where they're at and saying, hey, do you still like me now, or are you over it? And just say it as if it doesn't matter what they say. Even tell them that. It doesn't really matter what you say here, because I've always thought it was a possibility and it doesn't really change anything. I'm just curious if you like me still. And if they say, yeah, kinda, then you know. And you know what? That's okay. You can't control that. They can't control it either. It just is what it is. And that's what you live with. I have a lot of people who have liked me and professed to me, and I have said no to and remained good friends with them. And the art of doing that is to be a good friend. And it's just like Princess said, don't worry about those things. Worry about being a good friend. How do you do that? You talk to them, you listen to them, you hear what they're saying, not what's going on in your own brain so much, right? You be a good friend to them. And here's the thing, they're going to have those feelings. Oh, well, you know, it is what it is. So, anyways, that's what I got, Frederick. That I actually did cover it all in time. So I'm glad. Frederick, have an awesome rest of your holiday. Merry Christmas and blessings.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for the topic.
Back to Joe now.
Yeah,
thank you for your
I've got a whole bunch more to say about it. Actually, I don't.
Okay.
You summed it up so well, Ryan. I think we all learned something from you. You're master of the domain.
I've had to have a lot of awkward moments. So.
Yeah, awkward moments are awkward.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Great.
But thank you so much for the topic, Fredneck. And yes, Merry Christmas. And yeah, that's we're about at the end of the show here. So I want to thank you all. Merry Christmas again. I'm gonna do this one more time, just in case anybody's here that didn't get it. I'm proud of these photos.
That's great.
There you go. There you go.
This is Joe with long hair.
This is me with my long hair when I was a rock star.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun being a rock star. There's a lot of sweaty carrying.
Oh yeah.
Stuff around and then getting up there and playing on a show. And that guitar, that's a Les Paul.
It is.
Do you know how heavy those are?
Les Pauls are the heaviest of all guitars.
They're so heavy.
I don't know if that's exactly true, but I know that I've played Les Paul a couple of times, and every time you pick up a Les Paul, you're like, what? Because every other guitar is like half the weight.
Mm-hmm. I should be proud. Thank you.
Les Paul's the first guitar I played on, by the way.
Oh, really?
Not that I play guitar, but it's the first one I tried to play on.
Oh my gosh, they're so heavy. They're so heavy. And when you got a show to do and it's like 4 hours long, and you're going to be holding that thing, you know, man.
And your neck is sore.
Man, oh man. Or when it's outdoors, like that show wasn't too bad. That outdoor gig that you see in those pictures, that one wasn't too bad. It was kind of nice. But I remember this one time in July, we were playing this show for this. There was a party out in a vineyard, actually. Ooh. And we set up on a couple of wagons.
Nice.
Which was awesome, right? But it was July in Michigan. It was like July 3rd or something like that. And you know how it gets around that time of year. It's like super hot, man. The mosquitoes are everywhere, and it's muggy.
Michigan, it's hot and
it's
muggy.
Gross, right? And man, I'll tell you what. We had this show, and they loved us, and they wanted us to keep playing, which was great. But man, I had that guitar, and we're playing, and I was dead. And a buddy of mine, it was funny. I was single at the time, and this buddy of mine was like, there was a girl that was talking to me, and this guy was, and my bass player, he was like, dude, she was like totally hitting on you. And I'm like, dude, I'm too tired. Like, I'm gonna go sleep in my car. Forget everybody. I don't want to talk to anybody.
If she's there when I get out, then I'll let her hit on me. But right now, I'm going to take a nap.
Yep, that was crazy. But yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here for Don't Worry Wednesday, Christmas edition. Well, pre-Christmas edition. Next time will be actual Christmas edition because we will be in the octave of Christmas. Right?
Yeah.
We'll be in the Christmas season, which is that week.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
However, I will probably not be there because Princess will be on vacation.
What?
Apologies.
Vacation? No.
I know.
You have earned a vacation, Princess.
Yeah, we'll give you a vacation. But I will have to tell you it's paid. It's not paid. It's not paid for.
That's fair.
If
If I have some extra free time, I might still come and be in the chat if things work out. But I have no idea, so do not expect me. But if I'm there, I am a gift.
Yes.
Awesome.
You're a gift.
You're always a gift.
every time.
Well, thank you guys.
Yes. So thank you. Thank you guys all for being here, and we love you. We wish you all the happiest Christmas you could possibly imagine, or whatever holiday you're celebrating. Was it Christmas Kwanzaa? Christmas Mahana Kwanzaa?
Yeah.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah. That's people were saying it back when I was in high school. I don't know. I think there's more than that than those three.
There's a lot of holidays right now.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. Black Friday.
Yeah.
That was back in November.
What? How did we get back here?
I don't know.
Dude.
Sorry. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for your topics. We couldn't do this show without you guys. And man, have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next week if you're here. If not, we'll see you next year, which will be fun. 2022 is going to be a big year, man. I'm going to tell you something. A lot of stuff's about to happen. It's going to be cool. So, sit tight and wait for it.
Wait for it. Yeah, wow. It's going to be a lot of days of waiting.
This is going to be good. It's going to be good. I promise. So anyway, thanks so much. We'll see you next time right here on Don't Worry Wednesday. Till then, have fun. Love you guys.